Yeah, finally we got it, right?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you and seeing you.
Yes.
Welcome to Germany.
We were wondering where you'd be because we know you bounced between Germany and we saw you were on holiday. So you're back in Germany now.
Yeah, but you know, holidays, the worst thing of holidays is that sometimes they are over. And so, well, I came back around about, I would say 10 days ago.
Okay.
So what we're doing, you know, when we're or when my wife is, you know, doing on the social media, that we're not putting the photos in when we're in holidays because we don't want to show the world you can climb in the house of Thomas Enders because he's on holidays. So we do this, you know, later.
Much better idea. Much better.
Yeah,
we don't want to invite criminals, you know.
That's good thinking. We saw you had quite a traumatic experience with your car.
Oh yeah. So I hope it was the only one and first and last experience about that. But I was told statistically it will never happen again in my life. So well, it burned down. So anyway.
No, that's terrible. So if anyone doesn't know, Thomas and his son, you were what in Ibiza driving around, you just smelt burning in your car, got out, and next in the car.
No, it was the fact that we were driving in the car and my son was driving and all of a sudden it smelled a bit like rubber, you know, for 10 seconds, and then he said, I can't I can't pull the gas. And I said, but you can still using the brake. And he said, yes, I still the brake. And so go, you know, just leave the main street. And then we stopped on a private property and somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And the car began to smoke. And I said, let's leave the car. And 5 minutes later, it starts burning. And it's gone, but, you know, I'm having insurance and everything is fine. It's only a car. We are really fine and we're happy. And it was in the first beginning a traumatic situation, but then, you know, we're still alive.
No, exactly.
Luckily,
Yeah.
So listen, we're very honored to have you on the show, and the show is, we've been doing it in various guises for about 10 years and in this format for 2. And Modern Talking and yourself is a huge favorite of the show. And more so, I mean, to set up, right, is to tell you, I think you know this, but how popular you are in South Africa. Of everyone
I heard about it, yes.
You know, of everyone, we've been interviewing people like Joan Armour Trading and Air Supply and the guys from Spandau Ballet. But when I said, oh no, next up is Thomas Anders, right across the board, everyone was like, oh no, I went to their concert. I love him. He was my first crush. Oh my God, he's looking so good. Have you heard the new music? I'm like, you are so insanely popular in South Africa that to this day, you'll walk into a supermarket, a car will drive past, you go into a bar, you will still hear your music playing. So you've got this, and your concerts in Sun City, I think, must have been 1 million South Africans must have attended, according to how many people said that they went. It was totally amazing. Yeah. So me
too. I was there.
But it's so long ago, you know, that you still have it in your memory that, you know, really touches me because I don't know, it's 25 years or what is it? 20 something around. I don't know exactly what year it was, but it's really a long time. Let's not talk about, you know.
Yes. So, I mean, are you aware of like that continuing popularity in South Africa? Do you remember your time in the country? What drew you to the country?
First of all, I would like to say that I really enjoyed the time and I love South Africa because I've been there several times, even for video shootings. And, you know, even with Modern Talking. So we did several shootings there. We did the song You're Not Alone. And there was another track we did there. I just don't remember it now. But I love the country and you know, I have a lot of friends. They own property in South Africa, and they're coming there, you know, every winter north North Earth winter season. So when you're summer, they spending the time there, and it was really, really a great time for me that I spent, and I always remember it with a really warm heart. So I had a great time, and I even loved Sun City. You know, it was fantastic. It was like holidays in a certain way. So I remember I had shows, as far as I remember, on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday afternoon, something like this. And the rest of the week, was, vacation. So I enjoyed it very much, and yes, and I'm really happy that in your country a lot of people love to listen to my music and still remembering me.
So, and they do. I mean, you remember it with great affection to this day. So we often ask like how people have, obviously we've all had this shared trauma over the past year, but you've been keeping yourself very busy. And we often ask what people have been doing in lockdown, but from the looks of it, you've kept yourself nice and busy with new music. Are you back out touring? What's your last year been like?
Well, busy. Yes, it was not that busy like it used to be normally, but I had a lot of TV shows in Germany, so we're still in the TV business. And I don't know if you have the format Masked Singer. You have it in your country. Yes. So I had a great time in that show, and I released an album with one of the most popular hosts, and what we have in Germany, it's Florian Silbereisen, and so we went to #1 in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany, and we just 2 weeks ago we got the Platinum Award. Oh, wow. For Germany, and we sold till that day more than 270,000 copies of this album, and we're working on new material. And so for me, it was a busy time, not that much with traveling worldwide, but with doing shows, because this starts really, since 5, 6, 7 weeks. And now we're looking forward that this pandemic will go slowly to the end.
So your experience on The Masked Singer, were you a judge or were you a contestant?
I was a contestant, and it was a really, really hard time, because I came just till the final show, and it's 6 weeks. I don't know how it is in your country, 6 weeks. And for my brain, for my head, actually there was no day off in between 6 weeks. I had a day off, but in that time I had to prepare the new lyrics for the new songs, which I had to perform a few days later. And my character was a turtle. I was a turtle, and you can check it on on Facebook, and it was a turtle like Captain Sparrow. So it was I had around about 14 kilograms. Wow. And it's very, very hard to breathe under this mask. It's very hard to look, because you have this gaze, just only little tiny spots. And when you go into the studio light, and then you're really like blind, because the iris had to focus it, and I felt like a really old man under that mask. And it was a wonderful time. It was a fantastic experience, but it was a very hard time for me. And in the end, I was happy that's over.
Have you seen the offshoot they have of the mask dating? Is that people go on masks? I think it's the same production company. People go on dates, but they wear those masks, and they have to now see if they like each other despite what they look like. I think
we don't have this. We don't have this in Germany. We don't have this format.
Isn't that the same as online dating anyway?
I watched that series and it was really interesting, I have to tell you.
So
You watched the German version?
No, the one about the dating one.
Oh, the dating one. Okay.
Yeah.
but we're definitely going to go find you
Yes.
as a
Yes.
turtle. That sounds like
Definitely.
my weekend mission. So Barrett wants to go back, and let's go back. And I know you've like achieved so much since then, but I mean, our show's about the 80s, and we want to go back to the start of modern talking. I think people obviously go, well, you know, how do you describe the Bible? But maybe in your words, Barrett, you want to ask Thomas?
Yeah, sure. So how did the group come about?
Well,
Initially, way back when.
by mistake.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes, it was not planned. You know, at the very beginning, Dieter Bohlen was my producer in German language, and we tried with, you know, several singles, but they never entered the charts. So it was in the beginning of the 80s. Yes, it was 81, 82, 83, 84 in these times. And so putting on the point, we weren't successful. And I said to him, actually, I would love to sing English. And he said, well, this is cool. We tried to break you as a German artist in German language. And if you now switch into English, it's very hard to tell to the people and blah, blah, and so on. But one day, and it was I remember it was in summer 84, he came back from holidays, and in that holidays, he has written a song. And I had a studio session in September regarding from a new German single, and I was finished with recording, and then he came to me because I had time enough for my plane going back home, and he said, I wrote a song, please give it a try, you know, you have 15 minutes to listen to it, and then we go in the studio. And this song was You're My Heart, You're My Soul.
Wow.
And I went in the studio and I sang it and flew back home. And then we, showed it to the record company when it was mixed and was finished. And the record company said, oh, it's not bad, but we can give it a try, but we want to break Thomas Anders as a German artist and not in English language. So they decided to make this, I will say today, this iconic, cover for the single. And this was this, sneaker on one side, and the other side, this very elegant shoe, black shoe. And the record company said, well, we give it a try, but we are thinking about that you are gonna perform with a second person. That you perform it, like a duo. This was in their mind, and there was nobody was there who should do this. And I said, but who is this second person? And they said, well, there is none at the moment, but if we go into the charts, we will do a casting, and then we will take a person besides you, and you're the singer and you're the musician and whatever, there will be a person which you like and blah, blah. And nothing happened with the sales. So the single was released at the beginning of October 84. And I asked, every 2, 3, 4 weeks, the record company, what about my sales, even with the German product or, with Your Heart, You're My Soul. And the secretary from the company, from the record company, said to me at the beginning of December, we have 6,000 units sold. And this is, in that time, don't think about today, in that time, it was nothing. And she said, well, it seems to be a flop. And I said, yes, okay, so have a great holiday. And, we talk each other, at the beginning of next year. And it really, it's the truth. I called her you know, at the end of the first week in January. And I said to her, what about the sales? And she said, hold on a second, I have to watch my list. There was no computer and stuff like this. It was a list, you know, even no fax. You know, that telex. Remember telex?
Yeah.
So, and she said, I have to watch at my telex like I do now. And she said, oh, hold on a minute, they did something wrong, because this can't be, you know, I have to call the record company in Munich, because my record company was in Berlin, and I have to call the headquarters. And she called me back 5 minutes later and said, it's the truth, you sold 60,000 units. And I said, oh, what does it mean? And she said, it means next week you're in the charts. And I said, oh, I'm in the charts? Oh my God. And who will be my partner? And she said, I have no clue. So one day later, the head of the record company called me and said, Thomas, you know the situation. We'll enter the charts. I don't know what place it will be, but we have to make a TV show. And we thought, till we find somebody who is your continuous partner, we take Dieter Bohlen on your side. And I said, okay, it's fine to me. So to make this long story short, we entered 39 in the charts. And 1 week later, we were top 10 and number 9. And 4 weeks later, number 2. And then we stayed for 8 weeks on number 1. And there was no way back for Dieter Bohlen, you know, because we were like, you know, the magazines, the titles from the magazines were our Gold Boys, our Wonder Boys, our successful new duo, blah, blah, blah. And we were on, you know, on the front side of the magazines. And so this was the final of, you know, the looks from Modern Talking. It was Thomas Enders and Dieter Bohlen.
And is there a story behind the name Modern Talking?
Well, you know, this was even the same, it was the same secretary. I have to tell you, we were just looking, and you know, it's very difficult because everybody, you know, do your imagination. I will say to you, you will be performing, I don't know, in a picture or whatever, and please look for a special artist name. And you have 1,000 names in your head, but to make the final decision to say, this is it, and I have to live with it, maybe for the rest of my life. This is a really, really hard decision. So the secretary, she, you know, went to the charts and was looking and what was, you know, the topic of these days. And it was like, something was modern. And was talk was very successul at the time. Yeah. And there were some other, you know, groups in it. And all of a sudden she came in a meeting and she said, I think I have the name. It's Modern Talk. And then the head of the record company said, well, I would prefer 2 syllables and 2 syllables. What do you think about Modern Talking? And I said, yes. Why not? And so we found it. It was Modern Talking.
You know, I love those stories because you think it's like, you know, like you say, it's something that you've got to live with now. How many years later it's still around? And it comes up in the most, oh, we just wanted something with 4 syllables. So let's just.
Yeah. Yes.
So when you were creating music back then in the 80s, what music was around you and inspiring you? Were you listening to other 80s artists, or were your references earlier than that?
I was listening to all kind of pop music. You know, I was, you know, I was very deep into the American style, like, you know, in the 80s, Air Supply, you know, Michael Jackson, you know, we all remember this. It was fantastic, you know, fantastic music. I'm coming a bit from the 70s with ABBA. ABBA was, the heroes. Even today, the music is fantastic, the songwriting and the producing. A lot of American, and I really love this. You remember, for me, typical was there's American sound, pop sound with the Fender Rhodes piano. These gling glang and the piano and everybody was working, every composer was working with that instrument because it gives such nice feeling for your ears, and everything what was in pop, like from George Michael, like name it, pop music was one of my favorite. And I can't swear, but I'm pretty sure that it was the favorite from Dieter too, because all our music was influenced by pop and by dance. Just we call all Euro dance. This is modern talking. Even for us, I don't know how it was in South Africa, but Germany in the middle of the 80s, the German charts were very influenced by Italian disco pop. And this gave us the inspiration. Do you remember the song von Gazebo, I Like Chopin?
No,
do you remember
fantastic.
that?
No.
No, it was a smash. It was a smash here in Europe, and it has these piano theme in it. It was bam 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 da dum da 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 dum da dum. It was like a piano theme, what makes this song very big. And so Dieter adapted it, and he made this for You're My Heart, You're My Soul. So it was like it was like Italo pop, Euro dance, 80s pop, and this have the complete, how to name it, system from modern talking music.
Yeah, so my co-hosts on this give me a hard time because I love Italo disco, and they're always finding a way to talk it down. But,
No. I like it. I love it. But
so your influence of it is, and I think this is why modern talking became so popular in South Africa, because there was that Italo disco sound in the clubs, but your sound sort of took it on another level. So when you do talk about your influences, it does make sense because it was in this base that had this clubby underground sort of sound, and then it went onto the next level. And I think that's why you sounded so different. And people to this day say, oh, modern talking sounds so 80s. I say, no, actually they set such a template for what, the music was sounding like then. I'm going to say the name wrong, but the influence for a lot of like German and Swedish and Austrian, and even I've spoke to someone from Finland, artist is, and you mentioned ABBA, is Schlager. Is that the right way to say it?
Schlager, yes,
Yeah.
but this is a different type of music.
Yeah.
But Schlager changed, it's very hard to explain. And actually, Schlager is German speak. It was in these times, it was a bit like the German type of country music.
Yeah.
It was German language, but very sweet and sticky, this was for a special, age of people. The older people were listening to Schlager in that time. And, when you were listening to a Schlager song, it was very edgy. It was like, oh, can you see the sun go down in Montego Bay? And, the fishes, they are missing their larder, blah, 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 all of that stuff. And, it was really hard to be successful in Schlager. And so modern talking was fresh. It was new. It sounds for the German ear very international. And kind of it was, because otherwise it wouldn't be so successful all over the world. It has this kind of international taste. So we were very, very, successful, like, in so many places in the world. And today Schlager is a different thing, but maybe we come to this later. But this was we had in German Schlager, And we call it Neue Deutsche Welle, that means New German Wave. It was this kind of young music, young, crazy people with completely lyrics with no sense at all, very, how to say, nuts in their head and very aggressive. And that was for young people. And all of a sudden, Modern Talking came out like a sphinx, you know, like, wow, what is this? And maybe this is a part of the reason for the success of Modern Talking.
What's you know, with you and Thomas not having come from a background you're put together, what was it like actually creating music that, because you guys sound so in sync, it's, you know, that, but you were placed together. What was that like to then create music post that with somebody who you've not, you know, had this long history with?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Our work together? Or
yeah,
what
so a lot of bands at the time would have been, you know, friends or working together for a very long time and then hit the success. But your success sort of came, like you say, you were put together to start on You're My Heart, You're My Soul, and then you were just, you know, just carried on because
yeah,
it worked.
Yeah. So you know, this made it even for the upcoming future, you know, after the first part of Modern Talking, made it very hard because, like you said, we're not a garage band, you know. We had this development and we're working together for years and had the time even to, how to say, when you have time just to form your characters, you know, because that you're even growing up with each other. So we didn't have the time at all. So it was, like I said at the beginning, actually a group, a duo, which existed by marketing, for marketing reasons. And it was a bit by mistake, you know, and we were really, and still are, you know, complete opposite persons and characters. So this is definitely the main reason why we are not working together anymore, because we have different types of thinking and different way of living, and even there's difference in ages. You know, I can say I'm 9 years younger, and this makes it very difficult to work together. But as long as you're, you know, flying on cloud number 7 and you're very successful, then you're working. You're in the working modus and process, because you're working and traveling and doing promotion and recording and video and TV and radio and photo shootings and so on and so on. But after, you know, some years, after the 3 years, then we were really exhausted from working in that style and exhausted from each other.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting. Barrett, you want to say anything?
No, I
okay.
wanted to ask about
no.
that.
So what you know, so there were for me there were 3 members of Modern Talking. So it's obviously yourself, Dieter, and your clothes. Okay, the fashion, right?
And the hair, and the hair.
And so you know, we were joking about it, and in South Africa in the 80s, what was happening is there was a lot of Portuguese, Italian, and Greek descendants, either first generation had come here looking for work or were born so in their 20s, and then also a lot of the South Africans were being conscripted to the army, so they were like leaving their 19-year-old girlfriends and going off to army for a while, and your music became the soundtrack of these people leaving their loved ones. But the Portuguese, Italian, and Greek, so you became an icon for them because you're very Mediterranean looking, you had the long black hair, and everybody, men and women, copied that. So like there are couples of men and women both looked like you, right? So they both had the long hair and they both had the clothes. I was watching the video of Sherry Sherry Lady, and you have this amazing military outfit on it. Well, I don't know if I'm asking a question, but I was just making the statement of how you were such an iconic look of the 80s in South Africa, and so many people copied that. And I think that goes to the success. What was it like being, was there anything that anybody bought you that you would know, I'm not going to wear that, or how you felt as a style and a fashion icon? Any regrets of anything you wore? I just want to talk a bit about that.
To know, I know that I had really lot lookalikes, you know, this is true. This is really true. But I didn't even really think about that, because I did what I would like to do. You know, there was no strategy behind it. You know, I did it like it was. You know, I was not thinking about my hair, and because I did not think about the clothes, it was just the fact that I knew it's successful, the people like it, and the next step for the next single was, how can I do it, put it in a different way, but not leaving my track, you know, just what do it. So I had a lot of, you know, the clothes, and I've chosen this one and this one and this one, and I said, this is for the next single, or this is for the production, for the photo production for the album, or for the single, or whatever, and that's it. So what are you telling me is, for me, in the back reflection, for the people, there was much more behind it than for myself, because it was for me natural. You know, I didn't even think about it. You know, it just happened. So this is it. And many years later, you know, when I had my long hair and I had my ponytail, you know, after this, I found out that the people, or that I'm, yes, in that iconic way, that the people looking at me with that hair, and then came in the early 90s the decision just to cut it down. And this was a kind of rebellion. This was, you know, I'm a person, and I don't want to be, you know, don't want to be stuck in time, because I just want to go with the future, and I have to really cut up these long hair.
And so I think that sort of like coincides with your solo career. And I think Barrett wants to ask you a bit more about that.
So tell us about your solo career and what inspires you to continue to create and be part of the music business.
Well, the inspiration is that I love music, and, you know, this is the only thing I can, you know. I haven't learned anything else. So music is music, but, you know, it comes really from the bottom of my heart, because since I can think, you know, from the very beginning, I had my own ideas. I said, one day I will be a pop star. And, you know, can imagine my parents, they get, you know, crazy about that. They thought, what kind of boy do we have? You know, you have to learn for a normal job. You have to do your school. So I did my school. I did my final. Okay, this was fine. But doing music, this was really something shaky. And after Modern Talking, you know, I took a break for 1.5 years, because I went, I settled over to California, to Los Angeles. And because I needed really time, like I said before, it was a hard time. 3 years, you know, first of all, mentally, to go through this career, to 3 years before, actually nobody knew me. And after 3 years, you're in whatever worldwide, you know, needing worldwide known musician, and all of this work, and we had 6 albums in this 3 years, with the singles and with all of the video shootings. And can you imagine that when we are doing our promotion, you know, this was for me, it's for me one thing I will never forget. We had a show on the breaking morning news in Oslo, and then we were heading in our private plane, going for a recording in the afternoon in Amsterdam. and in the evening we had a TV show in Paris.
Wow.
So that means 3 TV shows in 3 countries and 3 cities on one day. And this was in the tiring, and it was really exhausting. And so I needed some time to going to Los Angeles and to reflect who I am. Sometimes I had the feeling that in these 3 years I didn't found track who I was. I was performing, and I was, my system was right on track. But for me personally, what kind of person, even when you're at the beginning of the 20s, it was 21, 22, 23, then you're in development to being really an adult, then you have so many, things, what you're thinking about. And I didn't have time, for live my life like, my friends from school had. But after these 1.5 years, I found out no, music is not the solution. So I have to work again on music. And I started, singing and doing solo songs and solo albums. And this was really a great journey for me. It wasn't that successful like it was with Modern Talking, but, a lot of people loved it. And I had the chance to show people a different kind of music. And I had the privilege to work with wonderful people in that time.
So speaking on that, you segue beautifully for me. So one of your collaborators during this time was with Sandra, who's also a local favorite on that 80 shows in South Africa. Tell us about that experience, and are you still in contact with her? And just give some background into that.
Oh yeah, we are in contact. We're friends. Because she lives permanently on Ibiza Island.
Yes. And
I have property on Ibiza Island. And so when we have the time, then we see each other, go for dinner. I just saw her, it's now 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago. We met each other at the airport on Ibiza Island because what I didn't know, we had the same TV show in Warsaw. So we were taking a plane going to Poland, and on the next day we had the same TV show then. So we knew each other for pretty long time. We knew each other from the 80s. Then we lost track because she was permanently on Ibiza and was touring all over the world. And I have now my house since 20 years, more or less, on Ibiza. And then we are still in contact. And yes, so we're the 2 icons from the 80s who are still friends.
So can I ask the question? I've been trying, and thank you for your time today. We're not finished yet, but would you be able to connect me with Sandra's people so we could get to interview her as well for that 80s show?
Sure, because her management, I'm pretty close to her management, and I will give you your address, and then he will get in touch with you. He is a Russian guy, and that when he's his name is Alexei, and I can do this after our meeting right away. That's no problem for me.
We so appreciate it.
So you've made my day and you've made Barrett's day in one.
Yes.
So you speak about your touring and now spend some time in California, and I think what we like to ask artists like yourself is that you've seen the world from 1980s through to now and seen firsthand, although it sounds quite whirlwind, firsthand the world change. What's it like to be in that position to go to different countries over time and watch them evolve over 30-40 years?
Yes, this is true. I'm traveling the world since nearly 40 years, and it changed a lot. So this is the truth, because not even with social media, 40 years ago, you couldn't even think about it, what will be in the future. And, would you imagine that we have the chance that I'm talking with South Africa, with you guys, and just, on lifetime, and, like I said, telex, I was grown up with telex. But even the world with, with social media and the World Wide Web, it's getting closer, and it's even more the same.
Yeah.
That means that the people, the countries are losing what made them unique, because you have all over the world the same. When I was traveling from first time going to America, I was my first time in New York and then moved over to Los Angeles. It was in a certain way complete new world. It was something different. Start with the food. You have complete, when you're going to California, you have this Mexican food, you have part of this Cajun food, you have this combination of American cuisine with traditional food. That was something. When I was in Germany, going back home, so I was really going back, and I was happy to go to Mexican places and having my nachos or sushi like this. It was very upcoming 30 years ago. And today, I'm coming from a little town here in Germany. We have 120,000 people who live here. We have 5 or 6 sushi places. We have Mexican food. We have, I think there's no food which doesn't exist here in the city from the world. So here's everything. When you're looking for fashion, going to America, it was something, complete different fashion than what we had in Germany. When you're looking today, in the windows from the shops, when you're going to Munich, you see the same shit like in New York. And, it's, what I mean? It's the same. So we closer and closer and closer. And now to put it on the music level, on my concept, the first time when I was traveling all over the world, I could see differences in the mentality of the people. The acting of the concert people was different in Asia than in South America. It was different, when you compare it with South Africa. But today, because the people know, because of Facebook and YouTube, and they know exactly what the people doing worldwide. And when the Asian people were very, shy in a certain way on concerts and very disciplined, they were clapping after the song. Today they're freaking out. So the world is still getting quite, normal, and has lost a lot of uniqueness, if you can say it.
Yeah, somebody said
it's so interesting because we interviewed Gary Kemp from Spandau Ballet. He said the exact same thing, and I said it's like a McDonald's culture, where first it starts with McDonald's in every country, and then it just spreads from there, basically.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Now it's Starbucks in every country.
Yeah,
true.
Not only, that we are influenced by the Americans. This is the truth. For the moment, it stopped a bit, but we don't want to go into politics. It stopped a bit, but all this is what I told my friends here and in Germany. I even today I say to them, make a look to the States, and 10 years later we'll have the same situation in Germany. So it just flips over after a decade.
And we won't learn. We won't stop it. We all just go. I mean, we're the same. We'll all just follow the lead and end up in the same situation. On the, on obviously on the evolution, you mentioned the way Facebook and everything, and I've noticed you embrace the modern way of distributing music, but obviously distributing, publishing, sharing, making music and getting it out to people has changed. What's your take on how people are consuming music and you as an artist, these new channels that you have to use?
You mean the distribution from the music? Okay, so this changed. I have records. Records was, nobody could think about anything else than records. And then we had, it was for such a little tiny period, was this, you remember this mini disc?
Yes.
Do you have this?
Yes.
But it
Very quick.
just like a snip, for me, it's like it was there for 1 year and then was gone because the CD came and took over. Yes. And this medium, was very, the hottest medium for music for ages and for decades. And I was a person, for me, I needed a CD. From all of my music, I needed a CD. Even I could make a download on it. But to be really honest, since some years, 4 or 5 years, actually, I do my streaming. I don't buy CDs anymore. And actually, even in cars, you can't use a CD anymore. In Germany, you don't get any car with a CD player. So you have to go Bluetooth and then you have your music. So this changed a lot, and streaming is the music distribution medium of nowadays.
And as an artist, does that work for you? Now obviously as a consumer, but as an artist, I know there's some criticism over streaming. Are you happy to use the platform?
The problem is for successful artists, it works. And for newcomers, it's pain in the ass. Because if you're not known, how should the people take a streaming? Because just to give you an impression, I know it from our lawyer. So he called me 2 or 3 months ago, and because he is responsible for our distribution and for our rights regarding Modern Talking. And he said, Modern Talking songs for the last 10 years, so we talking about 1 decade, on YouTube we had 1.8 billion clicks.
Wow. It's mostly me.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's mostly Paolo.
So from the bottom of my heart, a very, very, very thank you. So, but that means that if you have a music history behind you, and if you are, like, name it, the big stars from today, like Ed Sheeran, like Rihanna, like Beyonce, like, Kanye, whatever. They have 100 millions of streamings, like Taylor Swift, name them. So, but it is much harder for new people, for newcomer, to make money out of this streaming. So they have to be creative, and they have to work on it hard. And well, it's in that way, it's very difficult for them. But to put it on the other way, they have the chance, what I didn't have in my early times. They can go by themselves and make a YouTube channel, and they can make Instagram, and they can make TikTok and Facebook, and so they have it in their own hands. And now, this is a very important thing. Now, I will say, creativity and quality will survive. As long as they're good, and as long as they have, fantastic ideas to promote themselves, then have the chance to make a push and that limit where they can make really good money.
Yes.
And this, you know, in my times when I started with music, I had the chance, I could choose between 5 or 6 record companies in Germany. And if all of them would say, no, you're not our artist, then was gone, you know, finito l'amore. So nothing. So I maybe had to wait for another 2 or 3 years and starting new. But today, the people, the talented people, have every day the chance to make an output in the worldwide market.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Also,
it's true. And reach so many more people in like
Yeah.
the space. Yeah.
absolutely. So Thomas, to end off, what is next for you? What's next for Mr. Anders? What's next?
My next plans,
Yes.
well, at the moment we're working for a new album with my temporary partner, with Florian, and this should come out at the beginning of next year. This is a plan. So I just released an English-speaking album, Cosmic. It was in March, and you know, I cross my fingers, and I'm pretty sure that we'll have a chance next year for touring. So we'll go on tour all over the world for the next 2 years with these new songs and with the program, but still in my program are the songs from Modern Talking, you know, the big hits. And I'm working on that kind of program, and having a big tour in the States in next year in August, actually in 1 year, for the States and for Canada. But, you know, there will be a new German-speaking album with Florian, and a big tour in Germany, and I'm with him for 26 concerts here in Germany. So there's a lot coming and a lot of things waiting for me. And I have to say, I'm very happy, and I feel very blessed that I can do this, and that I'm healthy and have the chance doing this, and very successful. So I cross my fingers that it continues for the next years.
Absolutely.
Well, it's not by accident. You know, you often wonder why people are successful, and it tends to come down to them being good people. And, you know, you didn't have to treat us with the grace and the respect you did today, but you did. And that's the reason why some people, you know, stay in people's hearts, and why they're successful for a very long time. I've got no doubt that you will be hugely successful.
So I will say one of the secrets for a really long success is discipline and work. And the people, well, I'm pretty sure that the people can imagine how much I'm working.
Mm.
Working is not being on TV, and working is not being in the studio recording new songs. I'm working every day on my desk and my office. I'm working every day, talking with my managers about ideas, about, you know, what's coming up, what can I do, and even for you know, a longer period of time, you know, doing things, not what will happen in 2 or 3 months. No, you know, I'm thinking about things, what will be in 2023. So what can I do? Or what kind of merchandise, what kind of, you know, marketing can we do? What can we do new with Instagram? What can we do with YouTube? What is new product and new photo sessions? So I'm permanently working on my, to say, it's not sexy, but on the product Thomas Anders.
Yeah.
You know, the person Thomas Anders is fine. You know, I'm happy, I have a wonderful life. But to be honest, Thomas Anders is a worldwide product, and products needs a timeline.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on in the future. And this is, and I'm sure if artists have maybe this feeling doing this with their career, they will survive.
Yeah.
And I know from other people, they're sitting at home waiting that the manager is calling and said, you have a new job then and then, you're going to do this, yes or no? And then he says yes or no. This is not this is not this is not possible to be successful for over the years if you have this attitude.
Longevity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, if you're a product, we love it in South Africa. We will supersize it, pump it into all the stores.
We are brand champions of Thomas Anders, that's for sure.
Oh,
I have a tricky question.
yes, please.
Okay. So I love the whole nostalgia of the 80s. I mean, that's the reason Paolo and I started the show together. Barrett's now joined us. We live for the nostalgia. I can go back in my mind to seeing you guys at Sun City, being in the audience, jumping up, screaming, all that kind of stuff. Once in a while, quite often, I'll put on your music and I'll dance around my bedroom like a teenage girl. Do you ever put on your music and dance around your home and go, those were the days, that was amazing?
Not really.
Damn.
No, but I tell you now a really little funny story. I was invited with my wife. It was the beginning of June. It was a wedding, and friends of us, they had a wonderful wedding on one of the Bavarian lakes. We had beautiful summer weather, and there were a lot of, like colleagues and, other celebrities were invited, and we had a big party. And then the DJ put on You're My Heart, You're My Soul. And I was dancing on the dance floor, and I was singing to it. And so all of a sudden, the people stopped dancing and were laughing to death because they said, this is so completely strange. We dancing on You're My Heart, You're My Soul, and the original singer is singing by itself on the dance floor while he's dancing on his song. This is completely bizarre. It was so funny. And I was even, didn't reflect it. It just came naturally, because when somewhere on a stage, on a dance floor is You're My Heart, You're My Soul, actually I'm the person who's standing on it and performing it. And I'm starting performing You're My Heart, You're My Soul. So this can happen, but I never, believe me, I never will put any record, CD or streaming on at home and singing for myself. This would be very strange to be real.
Well, I had to ask.
But I love it if you doing it. Yes, but maybe you can send one picture about that.
Send a video of us.
Thomas, this has been an amazing hour. It has been an absolute honor to meet you. I mean, you really don't understand the impact your music has had. It's just good, fun music.
Yes.
Still listen to it today and feel so good. We thank you for your time. We
Absolutely.
wish you success and everything. If you do come to South Africa, we're there. You must know that. Maybe Sun City, who knows? But thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure, and it didn't seem like an hour. It seems like 15 minutes.
Exactly.
But it was really a pleasure talking to you, and maybe in South Africa or wherever on this world. And stay healthy. And thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.